Today I'll be showing you how to play the song Smut by Skyhooks. It's a Red Simons written song featured on the Living in the 70s album. The intro sounds like this. The first part is just a single note riff, where I'm playing on string 5, second thickest string on the guitar, fret numbers 7, 6, 5, and then going to the thickest string on the guitar, top string, 6th string, also doing the same thing, 7, 6, 5, 7, 6, 5, 7, 6, 5. And then we're going to start playing a series of power chord shapes. The power chord shapes that I'm forming are starting on 4th fret, 5th string. We'll call that a C sharp power chord. And it drifts back to a C power chord shape. But the correct labeling of the chord names in this instance is going to be an E6, purely because of what the root note, the bass note is that Greg, the bass player of the band, is playing. And red is also adding that in amongst this power chord sound as well. So this is just purely the finger shape you need to help you form this E6 chord. And what I'm doing is hitting the power chord notes first, and then the open 6th string after it. Drifting back to the C power chord shape, where I would call this chord a C chord with an E in the bass. To play, this is the Red Simons rhythm part as well. I'll just play that a couple more times for you. So we're moving back to the C, and the very last beat of the second bar of what this riff would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. For bongo's part, which you'd hear in the right ear or the right speaker of the stereo spectrum, he's just purely hitting the power chord notes once per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. For the verse, both guitarists are using the E6 and C over E riff that we just talked about in the intro. Let me play that for you one more time and show you what gets added to that as well. So we've got 2 more power chord shapes are going to be used during the second half of the verse. I've dropped down a string at 4th fret, 4th string, 4th fret, and forming a power chord shape. We would call this an F sharp power chord usually, but because of the A bass note, it's going to be an A6 chord, which then moves back 2 frets. I'm now at 2nd fret of the 4th string. Make your power chord shape. We would call this an A add 9. Fancy chord names, A6, A add 9, but physically not too difficult to play. The way that Red plays that, he makes it quite funky. Where what bongo is doing, once again, he's just playing one per beat of the bar. Let me play you the full bongo part. And the full red part. For the chorus, we get this wonderful collection of jazz-voiced chords in amongst normal major and minor chords. Both guitars are doing quite different parts now. The chord sequence, I might go through that first. You've got an E minor, a B chord with a D sharp in the bass, an F major 9, a G, D minor, C sharp major 7, C chord, and then B or B7 it could be. Red is half strumming, half doing arpeggios of these as it goes through the chorus, and bongo is laying down some lead guitar parts over the top of that. So an idea of what red could do: E minor, E minor shape, just gonna have to go and learn these chord shapes. B chord with the D sharp bass, that's 6th fret of the 5th string. F major 9, you could do your normal F open chord style shape and add a pinky, which is on 3rd fret of 1st string. I'm almost hearing that sound in the recording, where I've made a power chord, 3rd fret of the 4th string, added my pinky straight underneath it, which gives you the major 7 type sound, for those of you who know your music theory and know a bit about your jazz. And then adding the G on the bottom also gives you the 9, F major 9. The G, I'm just doing the bottom part of it, a G bar chord. D minor bar chord, 5th string. C sharp major 7, 5th string. C major, 5th string bar chord. And a B where they play the riff. Bongo's lead part, a bit more arpeggio style playing. So what I'm doing there, we've got the E minor being strummed, 2nd fret on the 1st string, open 2nd string, open 3rd string, so that would be covering the B over D sharp chord space, E minor, B over D sharp chord space. The notes that I'm hitting here, it's like notes out of a C bar chord. I'm up at 8th fret, 9th fret, and 10th fret. String 2, 8, string 3, 9, string 4, 10. Then leaping to double dots at 12th fret, 3rd string, 2nd string, 13th fret. And going 13, 12, 13, 12. Using my pinky to add to that, 15 where you got a dot on string number 1. And then finishing this lead guitar part with, it's a D chord shape, but I've slid right up to the 12th fret to get that collection of notes. Bongos part once again. We then follow this up with an arpeggio over the B chord. So the way I'm starting that out, some single notes, 2nd fret of the A string, 5th string, 1st fret of the next string down, 4th string, 4th fret, 4th string. Then I'm using my 3rd finger to flatten off and hit the notes on 2nd string and 3rd string together, 4th fret. I then jump up a string each, so it's 2 4th fret notes once again. This time on the middle 2 strings, that's string 3 and string 4. And then going back to 1st fret, 4th string. I end up hitting those 4s on string 2 and 3 twice. And then finishing back at 1st fret. It repeats, this time with just a slightly different lead part. So we still get the E minor, the arpeggio that was over the B/D sharp chord. Then we get this lead guitar part. Why I'm playing that. 1st finger is taking 2 notes. Those 2 notes are on 8th fret, string number 1, 8th fret, string number 2. Pinky's going to double dots at 12 on string number 1. And then we go to 3rd string, 10th fret, 7th fret. On 1st, 8 on 2nd, 12 on 1st, 2 8s on 1st, 8 on 2nd follows that. I'll play that once again. And then the notes on 3rd string, 10th fret, 7th fret. The only change is in the 3rd time you repeat it, the last 2 notes are different. Those 2 notes are now going to be 10th fret, 9th fret, both on 3rd string. Whole section once again. The cool thing that he does is he actually flips that over then in the next two choruses. So he starts with the one I've just shown you and then goes back to the higher one. I'll give you an example now then of the whole first chorus as played by a bongo. The interlude section has this Motown riff that's doubled by the bass and one of the guitars. It sounds like this. So what I'm playing there is the note C to start us off. That's found on 3rd fret, 5th string. Going on to 6th string, now the very top thick one, at 5th fret, which is A, and then back to G, 3rd fret. So you got C, A, G, and then dropping down to C. And that's the completion of this riff. Following that is this riff that follows what we would know as the F Dorian scale. For you music theory people at home, you'd know that one. Even if you don't know it, here's how you play it. We start on F, 3rd fret of the 4th string. And on this string we are going to play the frets 3, 5, 6. We're then going to move on to 3rd string. Fret numbers 3 and 5. And then moving on to 2nd string, fret numbers 3, 4, 6. The way we would play this interlude part . And it repeats. This riff is harmonized as well, and there's a guitar solo going on over the top of it that Red is playing. The lead part that Red is playing there then uses some chord shapes. A part of the C bar chord, the string numbers being 2, 3 and 4, and I'm just going to use first finger to cover straight across as I've seen Red do in live videos on YouTube. He just simply goes fret number 5 to start off with as well, so strumming, and then an arpeggio of that from 2nd string up. Frets that I'm doing those on: 5th fret, 3rd fret, 10th fret, and then double dots 12th fret, where he only arpeggios 2 strings, 2nd string and 3rd string. So just to go through that once more: 5th fret, and then strings 2, 3, 4, 3rd fret, 10th fret, that also then has the Dorian riff that I showed you earlier. If you're at this end of the fretboard, you might want to figure out the same notes at the end of the fretboard that you're at, or figure out the harmony as well. During the bridge section, and that's the part where they're singing, better get a grip on yourself, you better pull yourself together. We get a mix, once again, of straight major and minor chords with some jazz voiced chords. The cleverness of Red as a composer. The first chord that we hear is just a straight out E flat chord to a G flat major 7. I'm going to call that an F minor 11, and then an E9 chord. So getting very jazzy as we progress through it. Strumming that. Part using those chords in the bridge uses these kind of voicings. The E flat, we're going to use the bottom notes of an E flat bar chord that would be found at 11th fret on your 6th string, and I'm using just the bottom 4 strings. For the G flat major 7, I've got a big staircase being formed here. 13th fret, 14, 15, 16. That's strings 1, 2, 3, 4. Over the F minor 11, simply just a D chord shape. I'm going right up to the 15th fret though, and you do have a dot on your electric guitars usually at 15th fret to help you out there. Then I'm taking that shape 1 fret back, and then just using my first finger and moving that 1 fret back. So my fret numbers, I was at 15 in a D chord shape. I'm now going to go back to 14, but move my top finger back to 13. So those sounds. Strummed very funkily. That's pretty much all of it, but what you'll also hear is the riff being harmonized when it comes back in. And the way we get those harmonies, you can easily play it as a little chord shape, which is like playing the top of a G open chord, which I'm sure a lot of you would know. Remember that riff was 7, 6, 5, 7, 6, 5. What we're going to do now is 7, 6, 5 still, but we got that top of the G chord there. That finger is on 6th fret of 4th string. And back into a verse, so I would go from there.